Welcome to RGBA, where we cover technology news, cool gadget, and sometimes coffee and productivity. This is episode number 25. My name is Alexandre Varia-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Dario Menard. This week, we discuss car projects, evil connected devices, and the Nintendo Switch. First off, shout out to Mark Bramhill, the podcaster who makes the Welcome to Macintosh series. He recently started a Kickstarter, and in under 2 or 3 days, he reached his $10,000 goal. He required some money because, as you might know, his series is quite heavily produced, and he also travels a lot in the United States to actually get some nice interviews and sound clips from interesting Macintosh community people. So by having this Kickstarter, instead of loaning some money to get all these things done before he can post the actual season next year, he's going to actually have the money from the start to do his thing. So shout out, he got more than 10,000, so he got his gold. He's now at exactly
$11,381.
Yep, so he's all ready for his project. You can chip in as small as $10 just to help him and have access to the exclusive content. There's going to be bonus content like photos, interviews, and stuff that will not make it to the final cut. So this is always interesting. The links in the show notes will bring you to his page, and you can still chip in for another 26 days.
You can get t-shirts also?
Yeah, t-shirts, stickers. I think there's even one that's, podcast consultation. So if you chip in $1,000, he's going to help you to start your own podcast and offer his consultation ideas and how to start properly, what tools to use, how to do everything. So basically, it's a few hours on Skype that he offers for that. And you get also the t-shirt, the stickers, the bonus content, and your name in the credits for season 3.
So now the project is funded. He promised 8 new episodes.
Yep.
And I think there's a new stretch goal. If he gets to 16,000, he's going to do 10 episodes.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that. Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's in the stretch goal.
Cool. All right, so let's help him to get to 16,000. That will be more content for us, and I really love what he's done. It's super interesting. Go back to listen to season 1 and 2 if you can. It's really worth it.
Yeah, the episodes are pretty timeless too. You can listen to them anytime.
Yep. So earlier this week, Apple, reports from the Titan project, which is the Apple Car project, went on the internet, and we learned that they actually reassigned lots of people and laid off hundreds of employees that was working on the Project Titan. Basically, what the leak says is that they're not where they wanted to be at this point. So basically, it's probably harder than they expected to make a car, and they are focusing their efforts on a self-driving technology that can be added to a partner vehicle. We're going back to the McLaren rumors. Did they finally agree to a partnership with McLaren or some other company? And that's why they don't need to make the car anymore. So they're just going to focus on the technology of the car. So that's all we know for now. I compared this in the blog post I wrote on Hipster Pixel to the Motorola Rocker, which was the first Apple branded phone with a partner. The phone was crap. The CPU was so low that if you were looking at the seconds when playing music, it was skipping a couple seconds because it wasn't powerful enough to process the refresh rate of its own screen with the music playing. So that was like Apple's first try, if you want. They partnered with somebody who was able to make phones, and then they learned a lot from that, and they were able to make the iPhone a few years later. So maybe that's going to be the same kind of process. And it's also the process that Tesla did with their first car. They partnered with Lotus, and they took the Lotus Elise, and they actually slightly modified it, put in a big battery below, and you were able to get a supercar like that. So probably
Did they partner with Lotus, or they just bought a car and did the prototype with it?
Well, they had to partner because they had to probably get some quotes and some minimum amount of vehicles. But what Lotus was providing was just the chassis and
Just the shell with no engine, no drivetrain, nothing.
yeah, exactly. And I think they say like 20% of the visible parts. So the other 80% were custom made by Tesla.
Okay.
So it was, looking at those, you could see it was a Lotus Elise in disguise, but it was different enough that it retained Tesla's own design.
Okay, I thought you might have to like buy a lease and bring it to Tesla, and they convert it for you.
No, no, no.
I didn't know it was
Well,
that
if you
much
were
custom.
super mega rich, maybe, but I don't think their assembly line was made for that.
Okay, so this is just further fuel that fuels the rumor about the McLaren partnership. I'm guessing if they're scaling back on their production, they're maybe going to partner with somebody that's going to make it a lot easier.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes together. So, like 2 weeks ago, we have rumors of them partnering, and then 2 weeks later, there's another leak that says that they stopped anything car related. So it kind of makes sense that they probably agree with a partner, be it McLaren or somebody else. But it's gonna be something that's gonna be made by somebody else, and they're gonna jump on it and add their technology to it. I don't know if it's gonna be the whole car, including the finishing touches and everything, or if it's gonna be just like give me a shell and I don't know, maybe a part of the drivetrain and stuff like that, and then Apple's gonna add its own technology to it. Because I'm guessing that they probably realize that getting a car on the road today with all the laws and everything is quite complicated, and you need approvals from so many government instances and tests and everything, that it's going to take them maybe like another couple years before they could even get something rolling on the streets. So they probably just said, okay, let's skip all that, partner with somebody who already has something that goes on the roads, and just take them to the next level.
And I was thinking about it. McLaren is a super good choice to make electric cars. They already make the super expensive P1 that has electric motors, and they race in F1 for the past couple of years. In F1, they were required to generate power through batteries and everything for the past, I think, 4 or 5 years. And usually, it's what you see in F1 gets trickled down, and we see it in our road cars. So I guess they're on the leading edge or bleeding edge of what's available in batteries and rechargeable energy and all that right now. So it's logical.
Yes, on the technology side, yes, and also on the marketing side, because you don't want to buy or partner with a company that makes 55 different models like Toyota or Honda, because you don't want your stuff to trickle down in their models after that. So
Yeah.
because McLaren is such a small scale production company,
They make
with
two.
yeah, they make 2 models, and how many units per year? Do you have an idea of the numbers?
A couple thousand, maybe.
Yeah, not more than that. So basically, it's okay and it's perfect that every McLaren resources will be put into making something great with Apple, and there will not be like 25 different teams around the world. And okay, let's say the motor is made in Japan, but the body is made in Mexico, and so it's going to be much easier for them to just have a partnership with a smaller, in quote, company with just a few models, and maybe add a third one to the lineup. And maybe the partnership will eventually make them provide McLaren, like Toyota is providing the drivetrain and technology to other manufacturers also for electric vehicles. So I don't know. It's the match is just perfect. So hopefully we'll see something more concrete in the coming months. I'm really hoping for a McLaren Apple car. That will be quite amazing and expensive.
I can't find how many they sell per year.
Yeah, I don't know if are they a public company? Because if they're private,
You're asking a lot of questions now.
yeah, I know.
Let
For
me
a Saturday
see.
morning like that. Because if they're a private company, they don't have to provide any numbers to anyone. Because
Oh no, they're a private company.
because like BMW, Mercedes, Tesla, they're all public. So whenever there's a quarter ending, they have to provide numbers of how many vehicles they sell per product line. Not necessarily per model per se, but per product line at least, so that the investors know if it's going better or worse. But if McLaren is private, then forget it. You're never going to get the official numbers. On a more playable side of things, Nintendo finally unveiled their first look at the new Nintendo Switch, which was dubbed the Project NX for the last couple years. Basically, that's the next Nintendo console for your living room, but also for your transits. What the Nintendo did this time was quite interesting. I've seen reports from people that said that it's interesting to see Nintendo when they're like scared and cornered by all the other competitors, what they can come up with in terms of ideas. This is quite interesting. Think of a tablet on which you have little side controllers. That's when you go like on your bus trip or in the plane or whatever. But when you get home, the console itself is the tablet. So you just remove the controller and dock the tablet in a U-shaped device vertically, and that connects to your television. So the tablet is now powering this kind of dock to get your image on the television, and you can attach your little controller that you just removed to a central piece that has a battery and all the connectivity to the console, and then you can play from your couch. But it's interesting because you have the same console for your commute and for your living room action. And Nintendo took this one step further, as they usually do with their ideas. You can get the tablet and the controller, do your commute, get to friends, and then you just open the kickstand, put the screen on the table, and share those little controllers sideways, like you do with the current Wii U Wiimotes, and you can play to a game like a versus your friend. And if you have more than one Nintendo Switch, you can get, let's say, in their example, they had a basketball game, so you can get two Nintendo Switch side by side. So each have two controllers, so you can play a game of with four players at the same time. And the last part of the video, which was quite interesting and shows us the focus on Nintendo bringing back gaming into your living room instead of being online. So you can see a bunch of Splatoon players doing a tournament, and they have a bunch of little Nintendo Switches, and they each have their own controller and their own screen, so they can see the game from their point of view. But they're like in a circle, and there's like 5 or 6 of those. So imagine your friends come to your house, they bring their Switch, you can play, let's say, Mario Kart, 2 versus 2, and you have 2 Switches, and you can play on the same living room and the same couch. So that's amazing for me, because that's the thing that was missing from a lot of the previous console generations with all the internet connectivity. You were often losing the local multiplayer modes in favor of an online component. So now they're back to their roots. And finally, they also bring back the cartridges. So no CDs, it's always little cassettes like you have on the Nintendo 3DS. So memory, we heard of rumors a few months ago that there was a company providing memories for those cartridges that had a super great quarter, because Nintendo pre-ordered like X millions of chips from them, and that created the rumors that Nintendo would be going cartridge for their next console. And yes, we have the confirmation for that. So what this means for you, no loading time. You put the game in, you press power, the game loads, and there's no waiting between rounds or whatever. It's always live, like you have in your 3DS, or if you go further in the past in Nintendo 64. So that's all great.
How big is it, the screen? Did you see any specs?
We have 0 specs. The only thing we have is a second report from Nintendo that said that the dock itself has no processing power. It's only a dock, so you can connect your TV to it. So instead of hooking the cable to your tablet every time, you just dock it like that. So it recharges the tablet, and it's gonna connect to your TV. So
it's a super dumb dock.
Yeah, super dumb dock. You basically just like pipe their video through the TV.
It's just so you don't have to fiddle with the cables to plug it into the tablet every time you want to plug it to your TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But what I'm thinking is that Nintendo probably took this one step further, that if you plug into your TV, you get 1080p content. But when you're on the go, the tablet itself might not be 1080p for battery reason, of course. So maybe it's 720p, which on a 5 to 6 screen, a 5 to 6 inch screen looks pretty good. So We don't have any specs, but we know that. We also have NVIDIA that came up the same day with a big blog post on NVIDIA technology powers the new home gaming system, Nintendo Switch. So it's a new Tegra chip that's in there. Very powerful. There's basically like no numbers. We know it's an NVIDIA GPU. It's the same architecture as the top performing GeForce gaming graphic cards. So it's something powerful. It's something made for Nintendo. But we don't have any numbers for comparing it to something else.
It looks maybe the size of an iPad mini, but not as wide.
Yeah, well, 1080p. Well, not 1080p, but 16 by 9.
Yeah, instead of landscape iPad mini.
Yeah, instead of being 4x3, so it's probably a little bit less high, but the same width. So yeah, maybe. Well, iPad mini is what, the 7.9. This looks smaller, maybe 6-inch. Yeah, there's probably somebody in Reddit who actually measured the guy's hand and did a calculation on the width. So his thumb must be 1.2 centimeters, therefore the screen must be 6 inches or whatever. So I saw something also on Twitter go by, which was quite interesting. Nintendo is very known for its customized consoles, and they usually bring out more Nintendo DS consoles over the same generation with different color themes, or like a Pokemon version with some Pikachu painted on it, or some Zelda edition with gold and the Triforce and everything. So he took this idea of a modular console like that with slide in, slide out controllers, and he actually thought of maybe a fishing rod. So instead of having the right side controller, the Joy-Con that they're called. Yeah, I know that the name is awful, but anyways, that's Nintendo. So the Joy-Con, instead of being like the 4 buttons and the joystick, there's like a little wheel that you can turn so that you can reel in the fish. He also thought of a bunch of other adapters for different types of games. So that's an idea. Nintendo could be selling separate small controllers for the right or left side, depending on the game, and you could have a better experience like that.
It's like Duck Hunt.
Yeah, kind of. There's no saying that this little device doesn't have like an IR port or something, or maybe a camera that can, when you aim at the TV, it can see what you're aiming for, and there could be a Duck Hunt port. So
they didn't talk about price either.
No price. The only thing we have is that there is a list of partners working on games right now, and the list is quite huge. I remember that for the Wii U, there were like maybe 20 or 25 partners. Now I think there's like 40 or 50. So that's interesting because for once, you can have the same game on the go and in your house and not have to split your development effort in two consoles, like the gaming one, the one that you take with you and the one that you keep at home, which are two technologies that are different. This time is the same thing. So it's much easier for
It's available in March, I think.
Yeah,
2017.
March 2017. So hopefully we'll get more news in November. There's usually historically there was the Nintendo event in November. So hopefully they're gonna keep with tradition and maybe bring the Space World back, which was called the Nintendo Space World, I think. Let me just check that. I was a kid, so it's been a while.
It must have been really long.
Oh yeah,
really long ago.
The first time was 29 years ago in 1987, and I think the last one 2001. Yeah, 2001 was the last one, but then they had other events in the same month. They were not called the Space World, and the last one was in 2011. Which was later, so it was in January. So maybe the local one-on-one match idea from Nintendo with this console will bring back some other parts of their history. So maybe the Nintendo Space World.
You think you're going to buy one?
Well, it depends on the price. But yes, I could probably maybe sell one of my 3DSs and use the money for that. Because I don't really use it that much. I got the last 3DS XL a while ago, and I haven't really touched it. So this was kind of an impulse buy.
Are your kids going to use it?
This one probably more, especially that it's always multiplayer games, so that would make sense. Also the size, yeah, I think I could maybe attach it to the back of my TV and not even have a single wire going out of the TV. That would be nice. Yeah, I have to think about that. But yeah, I still need to see the lineup. The games we saw in the demo was, of course, Zelda, which is by itself one of the reasons I should get it. The basketball game, I don't care. I think we saw Skyrim, so that would be a first on a Nintendo console.
You're not asking the right person to identify games on the demo video.
And I think there was Mario Kart, of course, which by itself also is a great reason to get the new console. And
I know Mario Kart.
Yeah, my kids love it, so we're gonna see. So March, yeah, we'll see.
Too bad they couldn't make it for Christmas.
Yeah, but it would have been rushed and probably not completed. Especially that now there's many movable parts in that console. So I want them to take their time and make sure that the mechanism, when you slide in remote and slide them out, is not going to be loose over time and the contacts will not be made or something like that. So
we're going to have to start blowing on the little Joy-Cons to make them work.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that they're actually connected to the when they slide the Joy-Cons to the screen.
It's all wireless?
I think it's all wireless because in the demo, there's the guy on the plane who raises the kickstand, for the screen, and he just leaned back and has the little 2 Joy-Con in his hands. So they're probably just attached to the console for comfort, but you don't need physical contact there. The only place that you might...
Are they going to have batteries?
Yeah, of course. But is it a rechargeable battery or...
And then it recharges when you connect it to the tablet?
Maybe, but then you lose power for your game.
Steal power from your game.
Yeah, that's something that Nintendo will have to think about.
Are they batteries? Do you charge? It's a lot of things to charge.
I hope it's not batteries like the Wiimotes, because that's way too cumbersome. 4 remotes, 2 batteries each. You got 8 batteries to charge regularly. So these would be probably the same kind of thing. Or maybe Nintendo came up with a super lean protocol and a single battery could do the trick. But then again, it's not as good as having a rectangular rechargeable battery built in. So
because how does it work right now with the Wii U? You say you have to charge them?
Yeah, you got the AA batteries for all the remotes. So if you got 4 remotes, it's 8 batteries. They last a while, but like I have to at least charge 1 pair of batteries every week. So hopefully these will have a better autonomy and last a lot longer.
Okay, and yesterday, Friday, the whole internet was down. They finally released what happened. It was a big DDoS attack on DIN. It's a DNS provider. So I think it was affecting Twitter, GitHub, the big ones we use. And basically what happened is they found a hack in security cameras, like security cameras that are connected to the internet. And they took control of a bunch of them and they just fire requests to big DIN service. And it couldn't respond, so it couldn't resolve DNS, and the rest didn't work. Pretty much classic DDoS attack.
The botnet was actually comprised of devices who were hacked by a exploit called Mirai. This exploit mainly targeted Xiongmai Technologies, which are a component maker that make chips that go into IP cameras and DVRs. It's a Chinese company, so their chip is being then integrated into many different products. Not necessarily only Chinese product, but also maybe North American products. And this actually exposes Telnet and SSH access to the device from the internet. So they probably had a very bad security on their devices, and that's why they were easily compromised. And once they were ready, the hackers just sent the command to DDoS DIN servers, and then the whole internet went down. I think it was around 10 a.m., 11 a.m., something like that.
Right around lunch Eastern time.
Yeah, and then after that, it got fixed for maybe a few minutes, and then it started again to drop. So if you were using some services like GitHub or Atlassian's products and even Google Mail, they were all down. The thing that they started to do, this company, is to reroute their DNS to some other provider, so they can probably give service to their customers. But the thing is that with DNS, it takes a few minutes to a few hours to process the DNS change. So
For the changes to propagate.
Yeah, up to 48 hours. So basically, by the time the DDoS was done, even if they did a change, maybe you were not able to access your stuff anyways because the new DNS servers were not propagated enough.
This is starting to happen a lot. Do you think it's something we're gonna get used to, or it's just a phase, not a fashion, but a fad?
Well,
because we have more and more stuff connected to the internet that can do these very easily. Yeah, but there's not much you can do against DDoS attacks. They're pretty hard to counter.
True, but you can secure your devices so they don't get used by hackers.
That relies on a lot of people.
Exactly, but take an example of the Belkin line of products. I don't know if they were included in that. Probably not, because I had Belkin Wemo switches in my house for many years, and I get maybe 4 or 5 updates per year, and almost all of them include security fixes. So you can see that Belkin actually does its due diligence and tries its best to make its tool secure and safe and encrypted. So that's not the same case as every other cheap knockoffs you can get from AliExpress. Those IP cameras are fun to use because they're easy to set up, they're easy to broadcast the video on the internet, but they also broadcast like direct access to itself. So yes, you can get devices that are secured, but there will always be some low quality devices that are not secured. And that can be such a big problem because not every manufacturer will do its job properly. And we will see that again and again. The only thing we can hope is that big names like Belkin, Samsung, with their fridge and their washing machine that are connected to the internet and everything, they do their job properly and they don't expose access to their devices like that so easily.
Yeah, but that's the hard part. It's a lot of people that have to do a good job.
Yeah, and the last part, that's the most important one, is like you can do with any router when you install it, you have the default admin password. And there's a lot of, I think that Mirai exploit was actually doing that. It was trying to find devices on the internet with the default admin password set.
Did use admin and min?
Yeah, kind of. And that was enough to get into the device, probably flash the firmware and install itself there. And whenever they receive a specific command, they just do the DDoS. So there's always the part that's at the end of the tunnel, which is the user, which has to learn to set up its password in a good fashion. But the manufacturer can also force them to do so when set up the device, forcing them to change the password. Hopefully we're not going to see something as big as this one, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a few more in the coming years for sure.
The coming months, coming days. We've had one.
Yeah,
we've had at least one per week now. It's like a thing.
Yeah, well, hopefully it doesn't become a thing that's so recurrent that you can't work too many days per month.
Yeah, because I was trying to do something at work and I couldn't because GitHub was down.
Yeah, we couldn't send our pull request to GitHub. We couldn't get to our tickets on Jira, so it was such a big mess.
We depend on a bunch of stuff that are hosted on GitHub, so all our dependencies, we couldn't build our projects, so that gets pretty bad. Yep. Say we have to deploy in production, we can't because we can't build. We might have to think of hosting ourselves, our dependencies just as a backup, but you don't want to start doing that, and then I don't know.
You could also use a different DNS server for resolving GitHub. Yeah. We ended up doing that sometime around lunch, so that was easier because we were going through the DNS from Europe, so we were okay for that. But then you need the DNS for Google, the DNS for Jira, the DNS for another thing. It makes no sense to track this like that. So Talking about the internet, you reviewed a router this week on Hipster Pixel.
Yes. A TP-Link Archer C3002. No, 3200.
Yeah.
And there's other names in there. Let me check.
Wireless tri-band gigabit router.
Right, that's it.
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. So it's excellent compared to my provided router from my ISP. The ISP provides like this all-in-one modem slash TV thing slash router, and it was really sucky. So with this, it's way better speeds, especially speeds is a lot faster. I can't talk too much about coverage because I have a little apartment, so it's not very relevant. But the setup is super nice. The admin page is pretty cool. You can do everything you can expect from a router, I guess. It's a lot easier than the ISP's one, but that's pretty obvious. What else? Parental controls, a bunch of like network controls, bandwidth, security, but that's pretty basic.
Yeah, I also tried it at home for a day just to cover the range part of it, because I know you have a small condo, so it doesn't provide you with the testing ground for the actual distance that this works. So
I'd have to go knock on my neighbors' doors and, can I just try to browse a bit from your apartment?
Yeah, they won't like that.
Yeah. They're nice, but maybe not that nice.
Yeah. So I installed it in my basement where I have got my storage room where everything connects. And the signal was strong enough to go up to my second floor, which is the same as the Airport Extreme. But the difference is that the iPhone and iPad reported more bars. And also I don't have the numbers on hand, but the speed of the connection was also better. So basically, this was probably a stronger router than the Apple Extreme, if you want to compare in a multi-stories kind of house. The only thing I could not test, because my house is not super long. Usually people with routers and super long house have to put a repeater somewhere in the middle to repeat the signal to reach the far end, like in those multi-generation houses. But I could not test this one.
There's another cool feature. It's called Smart Connect. So the router has 3 networks, I think. One 2.4 and 2 5 gigahertz. Mm-hmm. So Smart Connect it assigns you the best network instead of giving you 3 SSIDs differently and you have to switch manually between 3. It's supposed to assign you the one with the best connection for your location at distance compared to the router and everything.
Yeah.
So I didn't really test that, but it looks like it's working.
The one downside of this router is the price itself. In Canada, you can get it for about $300. It's weird to think that there are routers on the market that are more expensive than the Apple Airport Extreme, because that's usually the most expensive one. But I looked also, and there's also other brands that are selling their router for $200, like the Linksys WRT 1900 AC, which is a bit less powerful than this one, but it's also $300. And there's also some crazy Asus one with like 8 or 10 antennas that looks like a spider. That is also $300. So what I was hoping is that since this is TP-Link and it's usually more affordable than the Apple products, they should probably like lower the price by $50 just to be competitive and maybe steal the market from the other Linksys and Asus of this world. So on my side, I also did a review this week. I finally posted my Vortex Poker mechanical keyboard review. So one more mechanical keyboard. This one, I chose Cherry MX red switches. So they are linear switch that don't have any little notch in them. So they are pretty straight when they go down. Basically, the Poker 3 is like, well, this is Poker, but it's the 3rd version. So it's basically, I think, the most popular 60% layout keyboard out there for good reasons. The case is made of aluminum. It's pretty strong, pretty sturdy. The keys come with a cool design. They have their own. What is the font? It's Bank Gothic, I think, that they use for for the layout for the words on the keys. So that's pretty nice, pretty original. The keys themselves, the keycaps themselves are made of PBT plastic, so it's high quality plastic, thicker than the usual cheap plastic you can get on those keycaps. And since it's very popular, it's also the layout of the different rows is standard, so it's easy to customize. The cable is detachable, so you can easily also customize the cable. So that's why it's basically one of the most popular mechanical keyboard out there. There's dip switches also. You can switch from Colmac to QWERTY or what's the other one already? I've got a blank.
The C, it starts with a C.
Dvorak. Yeah.
Dvorak?
Yeah, Dvorak, Colmac, or QWERTY.
Oh, Colmac, yeah.
Yeah, and you can also move around the function key, so you can get access to your arrow keys, which are by default function and IJKL. So that part needs a little bit of work to get adjusted to it, but other than that, it's high quality not screen, but keyboard. Highly recommended if you're looking for a 60% layout, and you can live without the actual T shape rows for your arrows. Yeah, basically not much bad stuff to say. It's even programmable, so you can program like this specific key can do a series of key. So let's say you say to the keyboard by pressing a few command keys. When I press, let's say, Command O, I wanted to type in my password. You could do that, and it's going to type your password for you. So it's not very secure, but it's one thing you can do. If you are using your keyboard in some professional tools and there's a series of commands that you keep running day and night, you can also program that to be one of the key of the keyboard, or a key with a modifier. So yeah, that's basically it. For the poker, you can get any Cherry MX keys that you prefer. I chose the red one for this one. You can get black, green, blue, and a bunch of other ones.
And do you like it? You're not annoying anybody at work?
I couldn't bring it to work. It was way too loud. So
okay.
I had to live without it and use it from home. So, but for work, I have something else that we'll eventually discuss on this podcast.
Okay.
One more keyboard.
Is this a secret?
Yeah, one more keyboard.
Again?
Yes, one more. There's never enough. And the other review I posted this week on Hipster Pixel was the Bose QC35s, which are the latest wireless headphones from Bose with noise cancelling technology. They were reviewed on the podcast on episode number 14, so you can go back for the audio version, RGBAfm/14, or look on the show notes for the link to the written version. Apple announced that there's going to be an event this week, 27th, right?
Yeah, on Thursday.
Yeah, on Thursday. So we're hoping for new Macs, because the invite says hello again, which is also used when they announced the new iMac in 97, I think.
98.
So, 98. So yeah, basically new Macs coming up. What are your predictions for this event?
No, it was the hello referenced the 1984 Mac, and then the hello again references the iMac G3, I think, right?
Yeah, the colorful one, yeah.
Okay. So it's like hello again, but again.
Again.
Yeah. So, okay. Predictions. So we think new Macs.
Which Macs?
I say new MacBook 13-inch Pro. New Pro. MacBook
okay.
Pro.
Okay, MacBook Pro. MacBook Airs?
Do they still call them Airs? You say Air?
Yeah, because I think this MacBook Air product is so used and popular that you have to refresh it. Hopefully with a Retina screen. That's my thinking. But that's at least they have to do that for sure. And the MacBook Pro, it's so in need for a refresh. But then again, if you think about the Mac Pro also, iMac, I wouldn't say no. The iMac is pretty nice, right? Like it is. Maybe a spec bump with the latest Intel chips, but seriously, the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro really need the most love, and the Mac Mini. So they should probably go back to the old design, which was easily maintainable. You could just twist a back door and just get access to the memory and the hard drive. Now you have to go all the way through the device, remove every component just to get to the hard drive. So I'm hoping for a Mac Mini with the easy design for maintenance.
That's not gonna happen.
Yes, it's gonna happen. You'll see.
Okay, and you remember we see the OLED like keyboard thing there, keyboard strip on top.
Yep.
Who's gonna get that? The Air or the new MacBook Pros?
No, just the Pros.
Just the new Pros. Okay.
Yeah, because that's probably some expensive piece of technology, and the margins on the Pros are the only one that can provide it enough leeway for that.
Do you think all the laptops Apple sells starting next week are going to be Retina?
Seriously, I hope for it, because
So it means they don't sell the old Air and they don't sell the old super old MacBook 13-inch Air that they sell for schools.
There's going to be a bunch for in refurbish for a while.
Right, but I mean like selling new.
No. Well, then again, the problem with the MacBook Air is that right now the screen is plastic, right? And the screen is not Retina. So if you go Retina, you also get to glass, and if you get to glass, you get to a computer that can break easily, especially in school. So that's a hard one, I would say. I'm hoping for Retina just because it's so much prettier, and the new CPUs, the 17 watts product line of Intel will probably be able to provide enough power for that. But there's also the breakable part. So yeah, that's weird.
So that's my second prediction. I predict all the new laptops they sell as of Friday or whatever they release them, they're going to be Retina.
Okay. So just to go against you, I'm going to say MacBook Air, not Retina. And,
okay.
And
you can't do that. That's already been picked. You can't go ahead and change your picks according to mine.
Okay, so MacBook Air Retina. Okay. Mac Mini with a new design. And third, because you already said MacBook Pro, that's for sure. Is there something crazy that Apple can bring out?
No, you have to real third one and then give me a crazy one.
New Thunderbolt display.
5K.
Yes, of course, 5K.
Retina.
427-inch, as usual. No Thunderbolt smaller.
You think they would release two?
I don't think so.
Did they ever have two?
Yes, the cinema display. It was in
24 and 20.
Yeah, 19, 21, 24, something like that. And eventually 27, yeah. But there was like a 20 or 21 inch also at one point.
Yeah, the cinema.
Yeah. So
okay. That's sold with the Cube.
Yes. So these are my three picks. So MacBook Air Retina, Mac Mini with new easy design, and a new Thunderbolt display. What is your third one?
What's happening to the MacBook One?
It's been refreshed not too long ago. So I would say maybe just...
Are they gonna... It's a 12-inch.
Yeah, just spec bump.
So now we're gonna have 12-inch MacBook, 13-inch Air, 13-inch Pro, 15-inch Pro.
Yeah, why not? Just keep it like that.
And they're gonna scrap the 11-inch. It's still on sale?
Well, it's so cheap. It's the one that goes under $1,000.
Yeah, it's a $999 one.
Yeah, so they have to keep that just so that they're below $1,000 by a buck.
Okay, I'm going semi-crazy. New Mac Pro.
Oh, yeah.
To go with the new screen. New
design or just new components?
Oh, no, they can't do new design. That one is so cool.
Okay, so still the trash can Mac Pro?
Trash can, but just spec bumps.
Okay. Are you going all the way and even saying that they're going to change providers for the graphic cards? Go back to what do they have? ATI right now?
I have no idea. I'm not good with those.
Yeah, me neither.
And even I think the Mac Pro is not possible because the Xeon chips are not out or something.
Yeah, there's also this could also mean that it's going to be released next WWDC.
Next summer.
Yeah.
Unless they want to ship a new computer with already old hardware.
Yeah, that would be crazy. A new iMac tower.
And what's going to work with the new Thunderbolt display?
Just the new stuff, that's for sure.
Just the new stuff.
Yeah. They can't make it work with the old CPUs, they're not strong enough, especially for 5K at 60 frames per second. So that won't work unless they have something in the screen that makes it feasible. But given that all the MacBook Pros, which is the most popular computer they sell, is already 2 years old, I don't see them going with that.
Okay, and my crazy prediction is they give 10 gigs for everybody in iCloud.
Per device or per account?
Per account. They just bump everything.
Everything, double everything?
Yep.
Double
or nothing.
Okay.
Or something related to iCloud, but I say 10 gigs to answer the Google Pixel free storage for all your pictures. I think they give 10 gigs or something. Or they just change it.
And my crazy prediction is that it's going to be a new e-paper keyboard with customizable key screens, if you want, where you can actually...
Like e-ink?
Yeah.
I think it's e-ink.
Yeah, e-ink keys, so that you can set your shortcuts and they're going to be visible on the keyboard.
It's going to be on the Mac, or it's going to be on the computers, or on an external keyboard?
External. Because you need more space for that. So it's kind of like we went so thin with the Magic Keyboard. Now the Magic Keyboard 2, probably, with e-ink display, will probably be just a bit thicker, because these little screens are very thin, but they still need some space to work. So I don't think they can fit them in the size of the key caps they have right now. So maybe just a few millimeters thicker. Of course, Apple won't brag about this, but that's what's going to happen if my crazy idea comes true.
Okay. That's pretty crazy.
Yep. You want crazy, you got crazy.
Yeah, you went full on crazy.
Of course.
Okay, I think that's it for the Apple event.
Yeah. Really looking forward to this for sure.
It's held in Cupertino.
Yeah. One last time.
It's going to be small.
Yeah. And then you also added in the show notes the CardioBot app.
Yeah, so it's a cool little app I've been using for a couple of weeks now. It's nothing very special. It's just, it takes advantage of the Apple Watch cardio sensor. Heart rate sensor, sorry. Mm-hmm. And it makes you nice little graphs, and it gives you an average of your heartbeat per day and everything. You can see your workouts.
But it also takes all the data from past weeks and months.
Right. It takes all your history.
Yeah, so that's pretty nice. So you can see, even if you just start to use it right now, you can see your average heart rate for the last year or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a year. It goes all the way to January.
Cool.
So it gives you like a nice average per day, and it's something that takes advantage of the heart rate sensor, or else you have in the health app, but you can't really see anything.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty.
It's what?
It's pretty.
Pretty.
Yeah.
It also has a Apple Watch. How do they call it? Not today widget, but complication. Yeah. To give your daily average. And
this little app is $2.99 US.
It can also track your sleep.
Yeah, there's a especially like the detailed view, where you have your numbers of resting minutes, your average heart rate, and the max heart rate for the day. And there's also a little graph that says how much of your day were you resting, high resting, or elevated heart rate, and even like you said, your sleep in a nice little donut chart. So
donut chart.
Yeah, and also your workouts, if you do some of those. You also have the details, like the number of miles, the calories, the time it took. And also if you were very low activity, low resting, or fat burn, if you were doing something a little bit harder. So,
and look, when you click on when you tap on a day, it gives you the summary day, and then tap again on the summary. And then you can see every reading it took during the day.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. And you have the for workouts also.
Cool.
So I see at 702, 702, 702, 703, and then it gives me my heart rate per minute, basically, and it has a nice chart on top.
That's nice, because usually those apps that actually pull the data from health, they don't show you any detailed view anymore. They just crunch the numbers, and you get like averages, sums, or whatever, but you don't get that little detailed view. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's nothing crazy. Don't have to do anything. It just takes your data and displays it nicely.
Cool. All right. That's it for this week. This was episode number 25. You can find our show notes at rgba.fm/25. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm Valliere, Vallieres.
I'm Tyler Menard, TYLERMENARD.
And you can find all the social links and all the different repositories where we host the podcast on RGBA.fm. For example, there's iTunes, of course, Google Play, Overcast. I recently added Stitcher. So yeah, there's a bunch of those. So enjoy the show the way you prefer. Have a nice week.
Have a nice week.